We're doing a five podcast, five things where we talk about five different things. It could be five
every week.
Yeah, every week. It could be five things we love, five things we hate, five things we find interesting. What are we talking about this
Five
week?
things that taste bad.
I don't want to do that one. I don't even know what that means.
No. And five things that taste bad. You don't know what that means?
I know. I remember last time I tasted something that was nasty or bad.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I think when you're a kid, you do that all the time because you're eating everything. But when you're an adult, you're like, I know that's nasty. I'm not going to eat it.
Okay.
That's it. That could be a good podcast, though. Wow.
Yeah.
Five things.
Yours would be especially interesting, I think.
Yeah.
I think you have an interesting palate.
That's one way to put it. But what are we talking about today?
5 technologies that have made life worse.
5 technologies that have made life worse. I have my 5. Do you have your 5?
I have my 5.
You go first, brother. What is your first thing that's made life worse?
All right, at the bottom of my list. So this is in number 5, place number 5. Smartphones.
Smartphones. Okay, that's pretty good one. Why are smartphones made our lives worse?
Well, I had 4 in my list, and I had a good idea of what I wanted to put in number 5. But I was like, hey, I asked my wife. I was like, hey, what's a technology that's made life worse? She goes, smartphones. As she's, watching a TV show on her iPhone while she's making breakfast this morning. So
wait, she's watching a TV show on her phone as she's making breakfast. Is she holding the phone?
No, the phone's like propped up against like a fruit bowl.
Why does she watch the big TV?
I don't know, dude.
So weird.
I don't know.
People have very strange phone habits.
That's a good question.
I agree with you 100% that smartphones are probably you can trace most of our problems to smartphones.
I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with it, obviously, but yeah, I think on the whole, life is worse because of smartphones.
Yeah, I mean, let's list off the ways it's made. Like our attention span's lower.
People can get in touch with you too easily.
Yes, that you are able to share your stupid minutia when you really shouldn't be able to, which is probably one of the biggest things. Like,
I think out of like all of the technologies that you can hold, and touch, smartphones are the only thing that's truly addictive.
Yeah. But I do feel like I've done an okay job in the last few years breaking that cycle. I'm just going to shout out. I don't think iPhone's a very moral or ethical company, but I think they do some things that well. And I do think one of the things they did, despite themselves, is make the focus thing.
Oh yeah.
And so I've set up the focus to the point where I don't get messages during the day unless I want to see them, and then I can go to my phone and look at them. And so it's really helped a lot because now it's like I don't get any text messages until I open up my phone and look at it, and then that's like, oh, I have a text.
Yeah, that's great. I've noticed it's harder to text you.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's going to change. I'm getting a new job, so it's going to change a little bit, but it's definitely
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. It's definitely something that I enjoy. Like the phone does. I am not a slave to the phone. You know how some people like my sister's phone, it does a flash whenever a text message comes up. It's like flashes. Right. Like she's like I'm at a concert. And I'm not sure why she does that. I've actually talked to her about that. It's like, why is this?
That's intended for people that can't hear or have hearing.
Yeah, I don't know why she set it up that way, but now it's like you're sitting around her. I think that's blinking, and she's like, I think she just wants to be connected all the time, which is fine. But I don't want to be connected.
Yeah, man. Always is she one of those chronically online people?
I don't know. She shouldn't be, but I think maybe she is. But on a typical day, like if I'm playing video games or I'm reading or doing whatever, I'll just toss the phone somewhere next to me, and then if I want it, I'll grab it. But other than that, but no, I do think that smartphones are a huge problem. 100%.
Yeah. What do you got at number 5?
Number 5 is the plow.
The plow?
The plow.
This made life worse?
Oh, yeah.
Explain.
All right. Do you know what a plow does?
I don't see a negative side to the plow.
You know what it does?
It plows up the earth.
Why do we need to do that?
To plant things.
No. What's the actual technical reason why we have to plow? There's a reason.
You have to disturb the earth so that the seeds and roots have a better chance of growing.
But also, let's say it's spring, you plow your field, you plant your crops, you get your crops, then the season ends. What do you do the same field the next day, the next year?
Plow it.
Why? Because the topsoil. What you're doing is shifting the topsoil, and so what plows do is like there's a layer of topsoil under another layer, and so when you plant, there's nutrients coming from the plants into the bottom soil, and then the plow pushes that soil up, and so you can replant, if you do it right, an indefinite amount of times, which is. Well, it used to be we go to a place, we plant, it would use up the nutrients, and then we have to move to a new area. We used to migrate. Right, we used to migrate throughout the world, and migration caused birth rates to lower. It caused environmental impacts to be far lesser. We did not stay in one place. Right. We did not build anything. We were a migrating people, like buffaloes and any other group.
But this is going way back.
Yeah, but the plow allowed us to stay in one place. It allowed us to put in roots. It allowed us to build. And then all of a sudden, we're manipulating the environment to the point where it's just terrible. The plow is one of the reasons why capitalism has worked so well, but also why the planet's environmental problems are so high. It's like if without the plow, we have way less people, and the impacts of human beings would be far less. I mean, in fact, our entire existence would be different without the plow because we can't stay in one place long enough.
My number 5 is smartphones. Your number 5 is the plow. Mm-hmm. Without the plow, would we have smartphones?
No.
You don't think so?
Without the plow, we would be back in the 1800s. Maybe we wouldn't have towns. You couldn't stay in one place without the plow. You just couldn't. Right. You have to you got to move to more nutritious areas. And so,
would we have video games?
We wouldn't have anything because you wouldn't stay put. When you stay put, you're able to think, you're able to wonder, you're able to build, you're able to fix problems. But when you're constantly packing your stuff up and moving, you can't do that.
Yeah. You couldn't have a supply chain.
Nope.
So, you couldn't have a supply chain that could build something like a smartphone or a or an Xbox. Yeah.
The idea that we can stay in one place and manipulate the environment in one area, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So the plow. Yeah. I mean, I've read about this and I've talked about people like this. When I mention the plow, people don't really take it seriously when I say this, and that's fine. But the plow changed our entire existence. I think for the negative. I think that the plant it's caused a lot of problems in the plant.
Interesting. Okay.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is fossil fuels.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think if we had never
that's not really technology.
It's technology,
but
the technology to harness fossil fuels.
Good. Yeah.
I think when that first happened, if the people were like, "No way, man, we're not going to freaking burn coal and oil and stuff. The air is gonna be horrible to breathe. There's no way we would ever do that." If they would just had that attitude and instead gone on to more sustainable things like wind power and water power. They couldn't have done solar at the time, but they could have definitely done wind and water.
Wasn't steam very popular until a certain point? So steam power was.
Yeah, but you had to heat the steam up some way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. No, yeah, of course. Fossil fuel.
We heat the water to create the steam.
Yeah, fossil fuel extraction is a huge problem.
Yeah, you could have easily gone with wind or water type power. There were water wheels, there were windmills.
Yeah,
and
it's just using fossil fuels is a quick way to get the energy that people quote unquote needed to do things, but it was short sighted, and now we're kind of stuck in it. I read a paper once that said that we reached peak oil in the 70s, and so I'm not sure how accurate that is.
It's hard to really say.
No, someone knows. Major corporations like Exxon, they know exactly how much oil is left on the planet. They know the exact date. They know the exact date. And it's probably soon, because I don't think these GM and stuff wouldn't make electronic cars and hybrid cars if they didn't need to. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's just a thought.
I mean, they definitely fought it for decades.
Yeah, but and now they're like, oh, build them. Yeah, because they're running out of gas. And I feel like they know. I mean, you wouldn't have these people trying to get to like these remote regions of the planet to get oil if oil wasn't easy to get. Like it's like, yeah, we're running out. Probably within our lifetimes to go up to the point where like, yeah, we don't have any more. Which that's going to completely change everything. But yeah, no, fossil fuel extraction was a really bad idea. It definitely made our lives worse. Just imagine all the people that have died from air pollution in our lifetimes.
Right. Yeah.
All those people could have still been alive. Like all the kids with asthma right now, not to mention cancers.
And it was clearly like evident during the pandemic when people were not out burning. Nobody was driving cars. Yeah. Industry had kind of shut down for a little while. And people could see mountains that they were never able to see before.
Yeah, that was a picture of India where like there was a picture before and after in India where people could see like the Taj Mahal. I was like what? So yeah, 100%. Like yeah, it's like I don't worry about the planet mostly because after we're dead, the planet's going to heal itself and be fine.
The whole environmentalism. What people don't get about environmentalism is it's a selfish thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You selfish people should be environmentalists.
Yeah.
Because without the environment, you don't have a place to live.
Yeah. Do you want your children to have good, long lives? Then you should be environmentalist. 100%.
Right. Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is, it kind of touches on yours. I have 2 of them that kind of touch on yours. This is the internet in general.
Okay. Yeah. Explain.
Like, it's just made our lives worse. And like it's made our lives worse in a lot of particular ways.
Yeah.
Like all my next one, my next 3 are kind of tied together. But the internet, just the ability to look up things instantly, to have instant information, has always been a problem. It's not. It didn't. I mean, you can kind of track.
The internet. Is that a problem? Like being able to instantly have access to facts?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to earn it. I think that you should have to go find a book and read it. You have to get up off your couch. You have to go to the library.
Just another version of finding a book.
Yeah, but it's faster and it's easier and it's lazier. Like the ability, the movement from you off your couch to the library, getting a book, finding the book, taking it off the shelf, flipping the pages, looking at it, reading it. How many hours does that take? Versus click, click, click. Like we take the information that we do get for granted. Most of the information that we have is bad. Like half the internet's wrong.
Well, Jarvis, without the internet, how am I going to get my breakfast sandwich delivered to me?
You'd have to make it. You probably would be healthier.
It definitely would be healthier. Yeah.
Yeah, the internet's just caused.
I don't actually do that. I don't actually use like DoorDash or whatever.
Really? For nothing?
Yeah.
For anything?
No. I mean, the only thing I get delivered is pizzas. Really?
Oh, okay. We do a little bit, probably more than we should. But the internet as a whole,
if you do any of that, it's more than you should.
Yeah, that's true. But the internet as a whole is just not. It wasn't ill-conceived. The very first internet I feel like was smart. It worked out okay, but then once high-speed internet began, and then once the companies and everybody came into existence, it just became a mess. And now it's like we don't really know what we're doing with it anymore. It's just kind of there.
Right.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is cars and interstates.
I was going to mention cars, but you're a car fan. You're a big car fan.
I have a love-hate relationship with cars, just like I do with smartphones. America in particular is ruined by the car.
Yeah.
Like Europe, I think, it existed long enough before the car to mostly resist complete and total ruination by the car. But America was not. And so our cities are just totally ruined. I moved recently, but the town that I moved away from, they just put in they just improved one of the roads. And the way they improved it is it used to be a 2-lane highway that had way too much traffic on it. And now it's going to be a 6-lane highway with way too much traffic on it. And it's like running right through the town. It's not like this is running beside the town or out in the middle of nowhere, And so it's a major artery. No, it's a 6-lane highway in the middle of town where people are like trying to some people don't have cars, or they only have one car, or whatever. They need to get around on foot, and that makes it way worse for them.
Yeah, no.
Interstates, like if you look at like the maps of cities before and after interstates were put in place, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like they just decimated neighborhoods, usually black neighborhoods.
no, it's the internet, like the interstate and cars are terrible, and there's a lot, environmentally wise, just it's not like it's not just destroying cities, it's destroying the environment around cities.
Right.
Like
we should have cities and villages,
Yeah.
and they should be connected by high-speed train.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's no reason why we should have cars.
And in between, we shouldn't have all of the sprawl.
Yeah, it's not efficient. Like I think a lot of times
Right.
people think this is the only
Every time you're in a car and you're complaining about traffic,
Yeah.
you're the problem. Like that car that you're in is the problem. Without that car, there wouldn't be the traffic.
Yeah, like what was it?
You're never going to solve it by building more roads.
Like the other day, we
You
were
know?
in our car driving somewhere, and traffic was jammed up. It was just jammed up, and we got to
Right.
the place where it was jammed and bottleneck because one car broke down and it was on the side of the
Yeah.
road, and everybody kept looking at it. And so, like, just
Right.
human beings in general, like the idea that you have 100 to 200 human beings at one time in a certain section of a road, the human beings make bad decisions. And so, if we had a train, you wouldn't make a decision. You would
And they take up so much
yeah,
space.
you'd get on a train and that's it. Like it's like you wouldn't
Right.
be able to slow the car down to look over to the left.
Yeah, trains don't get stuck in traffic jams.
No, not at all. It was a great decision for businessmen to build cars, but now like we have all these cars, we
Right.
have broken down cars, all the parts in cars, and then all the construction of roads. It's just it's not efficient. It's not thoughtful.
Right.
But at some, I don't see a way to fix it either.
And all of the room that it takes up.
So
You've
much
got
room.
all of these roads
Yeah.
that you don't really need.
Yeah,
You've got all of these parking lots.
Parking
The
lots are
parking
the
lots are
worst.
ridiculous.
That we should not have overground parking. All parking should be underground. Every parking,
or elevators.
yeah,
or something
elevated
like that.
underground.
Yeah.
Everybody should have a parking deck. Yeah. It's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, because like you go to a sports stadium and or not even that. You go to a Walmart.
Mm. So much land.
The parking lot.
So much land taken
The
up.
parking lot is like 5 times bigger than the Walmart.
And it's not needed. It's just like not thoughtful. They could have easily built an underground parking deck and put everybody under there. No, it's cars and roads are the worst decision. Probably the worst decision in history as far as like environment, health, everything. Yeah, we can go on with that forever. My number 3 is social media. Just like that's it, social media. It's terrible.
Why does it earn the number 3 spot?
Well, social media, if you like look at like, first of all, if you look at our kids, and I don't have any kids, but if you look at kids, the idea that they're being influenced or they're seeing all this other stuff from all these other people, their brains can't really handle it as well as they should. And social media is kind of screwing with the brain. Like the idea of influencers, people online trying to get you to do things is a real problem.
Yeah.
And like it causes the worst in people because like, hey, let's say, for example, you have a young girl who feels weird about her body and then she sees an influencer saying that she should feel weird about her body. That's just not good. And just in like there are some people who say that social media has created like groundswells of what was it? What's that word I'm looking for? What is it? Small group, like what is it? Politically, the small groups of people. What's it called? Grassroots. Grassroots.
Yeah, grassroots.
Yeah, and make connections overseas and everything else. And like, but I don't think that social media has done anything good for anyone. It's mostly just intrinsically bad. It's hard for me to qualify why it's bad besides the fact that you're seeing, and mostly it's like anxious people on the internet being anxious. And so you have a lot of people who are already anxious looking at the internet becoming more anxious, and like
I should say that you and I met on Twitter.
That's true. Yeah. But like we don't communicate through Twitter or Blue Sky or anything. We don't we just text each other. I don't think I'm on Blue Sky, but I don't post on there nearly as much as I used to as on Twitter. When I do, it's like once or twice a day. I'm mostly just kind of looking through it. But I think I look at social media far differently than I used to. it's just
Yeah, I think I'm fortunate that neither of my kids, as far as I know, have been like cyberbullied or anything like that on social media. So,
that's good.
um, yeah,
Just in general, social media has not been a healthy thing for our society.
right, right.
What's your number two?
My number 2 is the internet.
Well, okay.
So you talked about it, but I think it's a little bit worse than you think. Apparently,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it started out good, right? But yeah, it's just enabled so much bad things to happen. You know, it's enabled people with bad ideas. They used to just be like loners with bad ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got people with bad ideas that are just they're finding other people with the same bad ideas and they're getting concentrated and they're forming groups and they're getting out of control. It also, you know, it kind of broke down. It turns out having gatekeepers for media is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It broke down all of that. You've got people using the internet for their disruptive companies, where basically they're just taking something like taxi cabs, and then they make a worse version of it that exploits the drivers even more than taxi cabs did. So yeah, that's why the internet is my number 2.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think.
And I have a love-hate relationship with a lot of these stuff. You know, like we are now talking over the internet to record this podcast.
But we could have
People will download our podcast over the internet.
Yeah, but
later on today, I'm going to play a video game over the internet.
But we could have.
It's still pretty bad.
We could have internet in a different way than we have it now. You know, like we could have it. Yeah. We could have internet in a way where it's mostly just for connections. Like it's like like an advanced telephone. Versus the internet as like web pages and stuff like that. Like we're looking for content on it, like as far as like web pages and going to sites and stuff like that. Like we could minimize that and maximize the connections that we use. You know, like there's like most of the internet is like one of my students told me this. Most of the internet is not even working. Like there's nothing on it. It's just like these dead websites, you know?
Right.
And so like it's a waste of energy, waste of money.
Have you noticed that like searching for stuff
it's so hard.
Yeah, because like all the results are just garbage websites made by like machine learning. So like a human didn't even write the web page.
Well, hey, that's my number 2. Generative AI and large language models. It's definitely like my number 2. I almost remember my number 1. No, this is an easy one. I don't really know what they were thinking when they made large language models to write stuff. They definitely weren't thinking about education, which is
right.
What most of the education you do is reading and writing. Most of it. So if you go to college, high school or college, you are reading something or writing something. And the only way a professor can hold a student accountable for their reading is to make them write. And to allow them or to create something that will simulate that response is just the stupidest thing, the most short-sightedest thing that's ever been invented by a human being. Whoever created large language models were not thinking about the health and growth of our children. They were thinking about money, and the results are going to be really bad. It's already really bad. Like you have,
I think you're right. They weren't thinking about anything. All they were thinking is like, here's something we can do. It doesn't solve any particular problems. They weren't aiming at any particular problems. Very few of the companies are aiming their product at a particular problem. There's some that like aim theirs at like coding or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, these companies are just, here's a fucking text box. Type something in, we'll give you some garbage back.
And like, coding's one thing. Like, the ability for a generative AI or a large whatever to code, I think is fine. Because like, it's like, hey, I need to build this stupid website. I'll just get this robot to build it for me. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that. Maybe I'm short-sighted because I don't code. But to have like this, just for open AI to create a system where anybody can put anything in and get results back without a proper gatekeeper, like monetary gatekeeper, making it cost money, or like some kind of usage system. Like the large language models knew what they were doing. They knew students would use it because they need those students to train their systems. They needed large amounts of people to use it. They knew it. So the problem, like, it's not just they didn't know. They did know. They just don't care. And the results are you have a potential person that can go from freshman year of high school to graduating college and never written a thing. Now, that might be like woohoo for somebody who doesn't want to write, but then that person has to exist in our society, and if they can't write, they can't think, because writing is a large amount of writing. All of writing is complex thinking, making decisions, making decisions very quickly. Like, for example, if I told you to give me a 4-page essay in 1 hour, that might be stressful and I might be mean, but I'm also making you think fast, right? And like, you can, and like most students, I guarantee you, if I told a student in high school right now, a sophomore in high school, to write me a 4-page essay in 1 hour, they could not do it. And they would say they're having a panic attack or some kind of mental health crisis. But could I have done it? Hell yes. Like, easily. Yeah. I can do it now in 20 minutes. I could write 4 pages probably in maybe even 10, 15 minutes because I know what I'm doing. And like, the idea is I'm not a very smart person. I'm not special. I just went through a rigorous education process, right? And so like, those students need to go through the same process. I think, fortunately, I could be wrong on this, and I probably might be wrong on this, but I think the worm's turning, and I think people are understanding what has happened and what they're doing. And I also
the worm is turning.
Yes, it's a term. The worm's turned. You look it up. It's a thing.
I'll have to look that up.
Look it up.
I'll use ChatGPT to tell me what that means.
But I think a lot of people understand the problems with using large language models now. But it took us a couple of years to really get to people's heads. But I think at this point, it's just plain cheating. But even people who use it,
well, and it gives you bad information.
Yes, and I was going to say that even people who use it outside of academia, like our kids, like if you have a kid and they use a large language model to get information, the information is going to be wrong. And there's been times where like a kid's been like, "Hey, I'm having a mental health crisis. My friends don't like me," and the AI thing says, "Kill yourself." You know, like okay, I'm going, and they have done it. You know, so it's like these things are just terrible. Like we should be full wholesale,
and like the nature of the way that they work, they can't fix that.
No.
Yeah,
we should be we should be full wholesale against these things. Like everybody should be like, we're not going to use this. And like, this kind of stuff has happened before. There was something. What was it? There was something that was that people. What was it? I forget. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. DVDs, for example. At a certain point, no one uses DVDs anymore or CDs, right? Because they're antiquated. You don't really need them anymore. But also, I kind of feel like, but vinyl records, they're still around, and I feel like some technology has quality to it versus technology that doesn't. And I really do feel like I think we could, as a whole society, abandon generative AI and large language model and be like, this was fun, we had it, but we don't need it, and just stop using it. But the problem is money. It costs so much money for them to create it. They've already invested billions in these server farms that are sucking up all the water from towns. They don't have a choice but to get deeper into it, which is sad.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
I did my number 2 already. So my number 1. My number 2 is internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My number 1 is social media.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the worst. I think it's because it's designed to be addictive, you know, and it's designed to put you in a bubble where you're not exposed to other kinds of thought generally. And so for people who generally think of themselves as a good person, like I think of myself like that, and you think of yourself like that, we're exposed to things that we already agree with, and that's not really helpful.
Yeah.
And then for people with bad ideas, like white supremacists, which is clearly a bad thing, it's not subjective, that's objectively bad. It exposes them to other thoughts like what they're having. So they're in an echo chamber of white supremacism, and they keep seeing that over and over. And like, you know, it can take somebody who is, they just kind of think those thoughts sometimes and really radicalize them,
Mhm.
you know. And kids, you know, like boys that are growing up, it's really easy for social media to kind of spin them down the dark path.
Mhm.
So that's why it's my number one
Yeah, I mean,
worst technology.
radicalization used to take a large amount of effort. Like, let's say, for example, the Ku Klux Klan, if they wanted to recruit, they had to physically
Right.
go out and talk to people, get them
Right.
to a meeting, have like they got to spend their time, right? Like now it's a click, click, click. Oh, I'm radicalized, you know. And so, yeah,
Right,
100%. Social media.
Spend enough time on YouTube,
Yes.
and the algorithm is going to start showing you horrible stuff.
Yes, and like,
Yeah.
if I had a child, they wouldn't be on there. Period. And like a lot of times people think, oh, we need to create systems on the internet to combat these bad systems on the internet. A bad thing's not going to fix a bad thing. Good, there's no such thing as good social media. It's social media in general. And so I think the key question is, how can we reduce the impact of social media on these kids? Like, how can we make it so they don't look at it as much or use it less? You know, and so that's the main thing. It's actually interesting. I had conversations.
Well, it's the algorithms that are designed. Excuse me. They're designed to show you more of what either you are already thinking or things that make you angry. So if they just like, if there were regulations in place or something, or if the people designing them were just good people,
Mhm. Yeah, which they're not.
you wouldn't have social media that's designed to addict people as much as possible.
Well, there's two things. First, bad news or bad things generate more interest than good
Right.
things, and so
Right.
like, you actually have a financial interest in talking about bad news. And then two,
Right.
I had some students one time in our class, and I was talking about social media, and we were talking. I was talking to them about TikTok and everything, and then one student's like, "Professor Slacks, I don't take any of that seriously." Like, and they were all like, yeah, like they all think that anything on the internet is wrong or bad, and it's just all a joke. So like, I don't know if that's good or bad, but like, I don't know how to.
Then why spend your time?
Exactly. No, that's exactly. If you think it's all a joke, why you're on social media? And I think a lot of them are like, well, this is something
Right.
to do. And so like, I think a lot of them, I think a lot of us worry that they're getting their information from social media, but what they're doing, they're not getting any information from anywhere. It's just like they're on a sugar diet. You know, they're constantly eating sugar and
Right.
no quality
Right.
whatsoever. So yeah, social media. Was that your number one?
That was my number
All
one.
right.
What's your number one?
Handguns, number one.
Okay.
The ability to kill someone easily is a problem, and I don't understand.
You say handguns.
Handguns, yes.
But you're not including rifles.
No, and here's why: a rifle is hard to conceal, hard to use.
But most of the
mass shootings are with rifles, yes. But
yes,
handguns
yeah,
have
most of
also
the mass shootings are with
handguns have also
rifles.
killed a ton of people, and not just killed people.
Sure.
It's also caused easy crimes. It's caused us to change our
Right.
perspective on things as far as like our safety. Like suicides, most suicides are probably used by handguns, I would say. Right? I don't have the stats.
Yeah,
for it.
sure. Yeah, way easier to kill yourself with a
So,
handgun.
yeah,
than
and
with
so
a rifle.
handguns in general, like get
Like you got to use like some kind of a Rube Goldberg machine, or either be really good with your toes
yeah,
to kill yourself with a rifle.
yeah,
you know?
and also too, like it's like every day you don't know who's armed because of handguns because it's so easy to conceal, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so because like we've created a system where we have to go through metal detectors, we have to do this. Like if we only had rifles, we wouldn't have metal detectors. Like someone would like open your coat, oh, there's a rifle. Like what are you doing with that? You know, like but instead
Right,
we have
yeah.
a whole
Okay.
and like it's
I see what you
yeah,
mean.
it's like it's handguns have created our country to be extremely violent, and just like and violence as a joke, you know. And so yes, like machine guns and like rifles have caused most mass shootings, But handguns
Mhm.
have created this society where violence is just the norm, and like just to a point where you should have a handgun somewhere in your house. Some people would think, it's just kind of ridiculous. So yeah, I think handguns are one of the worst inventions that's ever been created. It's a small thing that can murder
Right.
someone.
Right.
Like just the
Yeah.
idea that we should have something that can murder someone. Like I can
Mhm. Mhm.
understand us having rifles to say, yeah, I do have to murder someone eventually, but this gun's really heavy, And so like when I do have to do it, it's going to be a serious action versus this little toy. Look at this, it's all cute, it's silver.
Right.
Oh, I can easily kill.
Is there any hunting done with a handgun?
Probably, but I don't take that seriously. I don't think anybody. I think some of these real, big bros.
I don't think there's like really
Yeah.
any
shoot
big hunting.
No,
that's done
shoot a
with
deer with a
handgun.
handgun. They go look at you funny and walk off. They're like, what is this? Like, it might bounce off. It might do some damage, but no
Yeah.
serious hunters go walk around with a handgun and hunt. It's all and handguns are strictly for people say personal protection. I say murder, right? Because like you can't,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
going to personally protect yourself. And
I
not
don't think
kill
they're
someone.
accurate enough for hunting.
No.
Yeah.
So handguns handguns are one of these inventions. If we got rid of all the bad stuff, all the different things we said today, if we got rid of all of them, our lives would be much better, 100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure.
In in fundamental ways,
We'd be some blissed out. What was the word that you used? Nomads.
Yeah.
Blissed out nomads.
We'd be nomads, just wandering the planet looking for food.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different. That is the
Yeah.
5 technologies that have made our life worse. Next week, we're going to do 5 technologies that have made our life better.
That's right.
Which is going to be interesting.
So, hit the share button, share this with your friends, your family, anybody that uses technology. So that's like everybody in your life. And then wait for next week where we talk about technology with a little bit more of an optimistic outlook.
Yeah. Technology technology can't be good or bad. It's how you use it, but some technologies can be misused. And I think that's
I have a repeat on my list next week.
I kind of figured that. This is fun.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about one of these things in a
Positive
good
light.
light next week. Yeah, right.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.